and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or over in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
For some reason, I don't think that's going to keep us from getting sued. I just don't.
You don't think that's the right kind of disclaimer?
I think it is. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of bases, but I still think.
Well, it is for us.
It is for us. That's true. Welcome to this week's episode of Stay Off My Lawn. It is September 30th, the last day of the month. And this is episode 135. I can't believe it's almost October. Tomorrow's October. It's just weird, right?
Didn't September start like 5-6 days ago?
Seems like it. It seems like it.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't have this on our bullet points, but I figured I'd bring this up, and I meant to talk to you about this before. But we've
only talked for an hour and a half, and you didn't tell me.
We run things on the fly. Trump and Pete Hegseth had brought together all the generals and all the people, all the way my boss in the military used to call it, the head mofos that are in charge. They brought everybody in from all over the world, and they had a talk with them, and it was really funny. I saw some of the excerpts from it. I didn't hear any of it. I don't think any of it was recorded. But he said, we're changing our mission to prepare for war. And it was like, I remember when I was in the early 80s, when I first joined the military, that was what they drilled in our heads. This is our mission. It's not to be good at our jobs. It's not to be this and that. The overarching mission was to prepare for war. Of course, this is during the Cold War and everything. But basically, I think the way it was presented to these big generals, because they've been so inundated with all this DEI crap for the last at least 4 or 5 years, they said basically, we're changing everything. We're not going to focus on DEI. We're not going to focus on all the diversity. We're going to focus on preparing for war. We're going to be stronger, faster, and more powerful than we've ever been before. And if you can't get on board with that, Pete Hegseth supposedly told him, meet me in my office and we can work out the paperwork so you can move on. And I love that. There was just something that warms my heart about that.
I thought they weren't supposed to meet until today. Did they do it yesterday?
Well, I read something this morning about maybe there was a preliminary meeting yesterday. I read something that sounded like it already happened, but maybe it is today.
Or maybe that was just the agenda, because the left media has been going absolutely ape nuts over, we don't know what's going to happen. We've tried. Our sources don't know what's going to happen. We just don't. So they make up a scenario, and it's like, really?
They don't know. And what, but that's never stopped them. I mean, when they don't know something, they just go ahead and,
Well, I mean, they're good at making it up. That's what they usually do. So,
Again, we learned that with COVID very strongly. We're going to get to that story later on, too. And it has actually something to do with us, because we were part of all that cancel culture. We've had a couple of episodes deleted off of YouTube. So, I mean, it's really, but we'll get to that in a minute. I don't even remember where that is in the story. It's later on. It'll probably be the second segment.
It's down there.
It's down there somewhere. But the big news story is former FBI Director James Comey got indicted on charges of making false statements to Congress and obstruction of justice, because his testimony was all fake.
He's just an upstanding Virginia man, or where does he live? I forget.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Wherever he lives, they do these.
You and lie straight to your face and just stare you down, because everybody's shorter. What is he, like 6'6" or something?
He's a big dude. 6'4". Yeah.
He's rather.
I think it's given him a false sense of superiority, though, because it's coming back to bite him. This whole attitude that he has, finding these rock formations on the beach. I'm waiting for the next one.
They're shells. Get it right. Jeez.
Goodness. Yeah, shell formations.
Correctly, will you?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he's an entitled bully.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's something he's done probably all his life.
Probably so. He's facing up to 5 years in prison if convicted. His arraignment is scheduled for October 9th. But of course, the Libby Maroons are crying foul as they normally do.
When it's one of theirs, when it's Trump that's been hauled off, it's like, yay, yay. Oh, look, they're taking him. Shut up.
And that's
No, they're
exactly the
not.
point. They forget that the internet exists. Andrew Weissman, I think you sent this to me, I believe.
Uh,
He's kind of a pretty forgettable character, but he was the lead prosecutor for Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into the Trump Russia hoax, which we all know was an absolute 100% hoax. But this is what he said back in the day, I believe it is.
Being treated no better or worse than anyone else. This is not selective prosecution, that this is not somebody who's singled out, that he is being treated just like anyone else. That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what the Justice Department is really signaling and messaging here, is that everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally in this country. This is really a great day for America.
See, I mean, so it's just fair. I mean, nobody's above the law, right? It's just fair.
no, nobody's above the law unless you're a Democrat.
That's right. And so, the 34 count indictments or the 34 felony indictments that Trump had, I mean, it's just the way it goes, but things kind of changed. CNN loves to interview this guy.
What? They changed?
Yeah, when the tables turn, they sound like this.
This is such a horrendous moment for the rule of law, for the Department of Justice, for the country writ large, being singled out for impermissible reasons. And so just because you did your job, but just because you referred the president or you opened an investigation into the president, those are not legitimate reasons to have a sort of tit for tat vindictive prosecution. Mm-hmm. This looks like it. The emperor has no clothes. That this is the abuse that it appears to be.
This is vindictive, but it wasn't vindictive when Biden did it. I got it.
Well, this tit for tat, it's like, you guys are doing stuff. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, just like old Hillary said recently. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yes. That's correct pronunciation, though, I think.
What she said recently. Oh my God, they had enough makeup on her. She looked like she should have been in the box, laying down in a horizontal.
Bernie's moment. Yeah.
Anyway, it's all our problem. We're all the ones that it's fault. It's white men of a certain persuasion, Christians. She finally actually said it. It's like, we're the issue. Really? You're going to go with that, are you?
I mean, the basket of deplorables didn't work so well the last time, so now she's going to point out us white Christians. Okay,
we've been all white Christian male. You got to be specific.
Exactly. Scott Jennings on CNN put it so well the day the indictments came down. And God, we love Scott Jennings. Scott, if you're listening, we would love to have you on the show because we will just kind of give you the hour because you're so wise.
He takes all those other idiots around the table and
he does.
And they just go, I do not argue with that.
A verbal bee slapping is what that normally is. It's fantastic. But here's what he had to say.
There are some people that need to be held accountable. I agree with Joe. If a grand jury says these things should be charged, that's part of the process. Now, there was another charge they declined on, so they obviously looked at it and made some decisions in the room. But the fact is, Lindsay Halligan walked in there, gave them some evidence. They looked at all of it. They charged on 2. And I know people who think they may not be done. There are people in our orbit who believe that maybe this is a holding matter and there's going to be a superseding indictment. And so there may be more information yet to come here. But every Democrat in this country for years made no secret about the fact that they wanted Donald Trump and his people prosecuted, put in jail, and prevented from running for re-election. And they opened this box, and now they're living it.
Yep, that's exactly right. I mean,
it's your mess, and you stepped in it.
Exactly. And it's like when it comes back to you, it's just not fair. The unfairness is getting under my skin. But the thing with Comey now, we should temper our expectations with this trial or whatever is going to happen here. You got to think about this. This is Northern Virginia. We're talking probably 80-20 Democrats to Republicans. I am surprised that they got an indictment because they had to have a grand jury for this. But obviously they saw that there was some there, which I'm actually very surprised. But you got to think it's only going to take one green-haired them on this jury that's going to say whatever this guy doesn't like Trump and I hate Trump, and anyway, this it could kill any hopes of a conviction. I don't hold a lot of hope for that, but yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, that's they are going to them and those guys are
Those guys. My pronouns are those guys.
they them and those guys.
Oh well.
Anyway, they're not liking it when it's getting switched for them, and this is what's happening, and it's like, well, you can't do that. That tit for tat is not really nice.
But when
Really,
it
it
goes
wasn't
against,
nice when you did it either.
exactly, when it goes against Trump, they're like, well, nobody's above the law. They got an indictment, they got a grand jury, and it's like, well, yeah, it was New York, Atlanta, and Washington D.C. What do you expect? I mean, they hate Trump. I mean, it's just because they're programmed to hate Trump. It's not because Trump has done anything necessarily, but they're programmed to hate him. Okay.
That's what they say. It's what was it recently about? Well, the poor stuff that happened to Charlie Kirk, and that was they were programmed to hate him.
Absolutely.
None of them have ever seen a single solitary video of anything he's ever did. Any of the people that he talked to, they were just told he was a racist, and he was the most unracist person I've ever known.
Absolutely. And the black people that are closest to him, Officer Tatum, I mean, he can't speak highly enough of him. And it's just like you said, not a racist bone in that man's body.
Nope.
But I mean, I've seen something recently. I don't know whether you sent it to me or I just happened to see it. Somebody was doing like a Charlie Kirk type event, and somebody came up there and said, well, he called for the destruction of trans people. He did no such thing. Or he thinks gays ought to be put wherever. It's like, he did no such thing. He never. But they're programmed, like you said, the media and certain pundits out there that are infecting these people's brains because obviously they don't like. It's easier to let somebody else think for you than it is for actually thinking for yourself. You and I've said this for years.
And whose side do you think? Well, we'll get to that when we get down there for the for what's going on with things.
Our friend Charmaine, I think we need to have her on again. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in Great Britain right now.
It's horrible.
And some of the posts I've seen, and I don't know whether I've talked about this on the air or not. I know you and I've talked about it, but this one guy I know over in Leeds believes wholeheartedly that if you're flying the flag over there in Great Britain, then it's a symbol of racism. It's like, since when? And I even wrote him a note. I said, dude, here in America, at least 90% of us veterans have flags out in front of our house and have for decades. And even the people, even Democrats up until recently would have flags out in front of their house because it wasn't such a taboo to love your country. And it's like, it has nothing to do with racism or looking down on any types of people whatsoever. But he came back. Well, he sent me a link to a CNN UK article, which I'm like, oh yeah, well that holds a lot of water for me. But anyway, it's just weird. They've been taught this, and you and I both have friends in the UK that are not necessarily adept to thinking for themselves, and they just believe whatever they're told. If somebody's flying the flag, well, those are racist people. They don't like these immigrants that are coming into the country. And so. There's more to this story here.
Yeah, well, the milquetoast people over there are. I've got friends who talk about Keir Starmer, and they talk about conservative things. Oh, I don't want to get arrested, so they get rid of all the people that don't think like they do.
Exactly.
And that's really sad. It's
It
like,
is.
really, you would do that? Well, the way they're arresting people and coming and knocking on your door because Big Brother is watching you.
That's just a social media post. Sometimes
Yeah.
they'll come knocking on your door.
Yep.
And I honestly didn't know that it had gotten this bad in England, but British media personality Katie Hopkins, you and I are very familiar with her. She gave some details on how bad it has gotten recently while speaking at an American Freedom Alliance event. And this is what she had to say.
Especially coming from a country where we're no longer allowed to fly our flag. So in the UK today, the Union flag, we don't see it. It's one of the glorious things about being here in America is your flag is everywhere. It flies on your buildings, it flies on your streets. I ended up in tears at the airport on my way here because you guys call out for your service personnel to board your planes first. You say, and service personnel, you can board the plane and thank you for your service. We don't do that where I come from. Where I come from, we're told that we have to take off our uniforms before we leave barracks because you are a victim, you will be a victim of attack. People attack our service personnel in the street. So to see your flag flying is so important. I had a gentleman contact me, he was renting an apartment. He flew the St. George's Cross, the English flag, when it was football season. He was told if he did not take down that St. George's Cross, he would be removed from the apartment building because the St. George's Cross is seen as a racist symbol in my country. This is how far we have fallen. This is how far. We have a specialist hate crime unit in the UK. Sadiq Khan spent £2.7 million at a time when we don't have police to stop black kids being stabbed on the street. £2.7 million on a hate crime unit specifically set up to police speech online, specifically my speech.
Yeah, she's been an open critic of Keir Starmer and of Sadiq Khan. She doesn't like Sadiq Khan at all. She made some pretty inappropriate jokes. We cut that off, but I mean because he's a very short person, I didn't realize that either. But you know, a lot of the prominent cities in the UK have Muslim mayors: London, Birmingham, Leeds, Blackburn, Sheffield, Oxford. The list just goes on. It's incredible.
We have plenty in the U.S. that it's happening to also.
Yep. Up in Michigan, especially, and in Minnesota, and you know, look. Put it this way: it seems like it's all changed in the last 10 years since Syrian refugees have kind of left their homeland and everything. And I get it; it's war torn. I get it. I totally get it. But don't come into another country and decide not to assimilate. We've talked about this hundreds of times, probably. When you decide that if I want to move to Great Britain, I'm not taking my American flag and sticking it in my flagpole in the front because I'm not an American anymore. If I want to live there, if I'm going to be an English person, that's who I'm going to be. And it's like my devotion should be to the country that you end up settling in. A lot of people don't see it that way.
No. And she was talking about flags, and there was something I noticed a couple of years ago when my son-in-law's sister was killed in a car wreck. We had a memorial where they used to go and spend some of their summers way over on the Washington coast. So we were out there, man, you didn't see an American flag for nothing. And just for something different, we decided to go drive straight across the middle of Washington. Gas was expensive. I didn't care. We hadn't been there before, so let's go home a different way. Yeah. And as soon as we got on the other side of I-5, which is a road that runs up through Tacoma, Olympia, Seattle, all that, as soon as you got on the other side of that freeway, going on this road, there was a flag almost every house that was out. They were everywhere. So really, does that not tell you about the Democratic Party that's not proud of its country, that's not happy to be where they are? Are we perfect? Oh, hell no.
No, of course.
My God, you can still have some civic pride in your country. So,
and that's probably
that was just an observation that I just went, okay, boy, if that doesn't tell you what's going on.
Yeah. Doesn't I-5 kind of split it in like a third The West Coast is a third of it, and the rest of the state is much bigger than on the west side of that, or on the east side of that, than on the west.
2/3 of the state
Yeah.
is on the eastern side of I-5.
But more than half the population lives on the west side.
Yeah, that's the way they are. Where the big populations are, is what's been running things. Well, it's not even working out that much for California. The amount of people that are changing registrations to Republican in California is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane.
Huge.
Hey, we are up against a break. Why don't we do that real quick? We've got a little bit more to talk about with this thing going on in the UK. So hang in there. We will be right back.
Guests on the Stay Off My Lawn podcast stay at the luxurious Motel 6, right off I-75 on Highway 20.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Over-the-Top Carb Counter.
Mr. Over-the-Top Carb Counter.
Brushing aside such follies as work and family, you wisely adopted carbo counting as your primary pastime.
I'm crazy for carbos.
From breakfast through dinner, you tirelessly record every precious carb, hoping it might all add up to your target number, 0.
Hold on to your dream now.
Was that artichoke you ate 13.5 carbs or 13.6? Better look it up while you help yourself to another package of bacon.
I like it crispy.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh Count of Monte Carbo, because the only thing better than meat and potatoes is meat and meat.
Mr. Over-the-Top
Bud
Carb
Light Beer,
Counter.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
I can't disagree with meat and meat. I like that myself.
Yeah, I grew up out in the country, and that's what you got: some meat, taters, and a vegetable. Other than that, why else are you eating?
My mother always had a tub of bacon grease that she would cook eggs and all kinds of stuff, and it's like, oh man, it used to taste so good.
We still do. We save
yeah.
the bacon grease, and it goes in a jar in the fridge. We don't leave it out on the counter. We put it in a jar in the fridge. We're civilized humans. I mean, come on.
My mother gave my wife the spaghetti sauce recipe that she had, and it's sort of like, and Barbara makes it, and she's like she goes, it's a little different, and it's like we just don't smell the cigarette smoke that she had dangling out of her mouth while she was making. That's really all it is.
Ashes aren't in there. That was a secret ingredient.
I mean, God love her, but I mean, she had always had it. Her and my father both. I'm surprised I made it out of teenage years with all the cigarette smoke that I inhaled during this time. But anyway, there's a lot of prominent cities in the UK. And I told you about all those that have Muslim mayors, and that doesn't sound like I'm being kind at all. I'm just saying that the culture has shifted. In the last 10 years, there are 4 million people that are Muslims out of the 66 million that are the entire population right now. 70-something% don't work and are taking public assistance. If you break it down to just women, it's almost 80% that don't work and taking public assistance. So, I mean, that they're a drain on the economy, which their economy is kind of in the tank as much as ours is. But bringing with all that, there are over 300 mosques over there, 13 Sharia courts, and there was a couple other things that had to do with Muslim society. So it's like, you wonder why a lot of the people over there think that their culture is dissolving in front of their eyes. It's fading away. I don't blame them for being upset about that.
Yeah, I mean, you got all that happening, and like you're saying, it's almost to the point of being half Muslim, running stuff and putting their own stuff. They're not assimilating in any way, shape, or form. It's you will kowtow and do what we want. So if you say something bad about the Muslims in England, somebody comes knocking at your door.
Yeah, you're a terrible racist. And really, and you and I have talked about this. We talked about this off the air. I don't care if you belong to a church that worships a sweat sock. I honestly don't care what you do. But when you kind of try to make everybody kind of get on board with what your beliefs are, that's where the line gets drawn. And that's where hopefully we will stand strong here in America, to where it's like separate but equal. You do your thing. Don't try to influence. And you can talk to me about it. You can tell me that you believe that Muhammad was the true prophet and all that kind of stuff. I'll listen to you all day long. We'll talk about that, and I'll explain to you why I believe Jesus was the Son of God. And I've done that. There was a Pakistani restaurant that my son and his best friend took me to 15 years ago, and we sat there, and him and I were talking about the differences of their scripture about Moses and about Noah and about Abraham, and it's like we had a good conversation. We didn't change each other's minds, but we had a good conversation. We coexisted. Everything was fine. But I don't think that that's truly the goal of a lot of these people. They want to change the culture that they moved into.
You say something bad about Mohammed, and they will be hunting you down.
Oh yeah, look at that Charlie Hebdo thing in Paris a few years ago. That was really terrible, and that was all because of a cartoon that somebody made in the.
It's not gotten any better either. It's gotten way worse in France. France is losing its identity as well.
Absolutely. And Macron and his husband are not helping matters over there at all either. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. I didn't think that was out loud. But hey, look, I'm not a handsome man, but his husband is really ugly. So let's go with that. Your personal finances, that was extra. That wasn't. We weren't even talking.
No charge for that, was there?
No charge. It was completely free. But your finances in the UK are being scrutinized. I did not know about this at all until this week. But here's a news story out of the UK.
Digital currency.
And Richard enlightened me about that earlier.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah, I didn't know that they had already switched over to that. But this is a news story out of the UK. Here we go.
From September 18th, 2025, withdrawing more than £200 in cash within 7 days will activate an alert on your account. Yes, the moment you cross that limit, your banking activity goes straight to the Financial Intelligence Unit, supported by HMRC, the Treasury and the Financial Conduct Authority. And it doesn't stop there. A new automated monitoring system will scan every withdrawal, deposit and transfer. Take out £300 today and another £100 later in the week, instantly reviewed. Your account could be checked, restricted or even temporarily paused. Do this often and you could end up on a high-risk list, facing blocked transactions, limited card use and possible reports to other agencies. The rule is aimed at reducing activity in certain sectors like property, second-hand cars and cash-based deals. But many believe it could affect ordinary people too, making every step of your financial life feel closely monitored.
What ordinary people, I mean, if you want to put the pounds next to the dollars, you take out a couple of $100 of your ATM here in America. I do that every month. I mean, really, that's going to put me on a list somewhere? If they were talking about Beijing, I'd be going, well, yeah, that makes sense. But this is the UK.
Yeah, I just paid my friend. We're going to go see Jeff Dunham in March.
Oh, yeah, he was great. I told you.
I didn't go the last time. Our funds there were some things going on, and it's like it might have been when the wife was doing her first surgery, and it kind of drained some of the extra that you might have.
Of course.
But he said, I'll get the tickets. I went, okay. I said, I'll pay you back when we come over to watch Boise State play, see the football game. He goes, oh, that'll work. I said, do you have any of the digital stuff, Venmo or PayPal or what do you have? He goes, nah, just write me a check. Okay. So he's going to deposit a check that came from me. And for 2 tickets, it's pretty close to that limit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oy vey, I could be on the watch list because there are other times we've gotten tickets and he'll just get them for all 4 of us. So we're all in the same place. Because if you go try to get, well, what seats did you, it doesn't work. Yeah. So, sometimes when we go to the football game, the local one for the small college, it's like, oh, I forgot to get tickets. He goes, I'll get them. You can just pay me. Okay. Wow. It doesn't make any difference where we sit, but
I think we got early on the tickets for Jeff Dunham because I think we only paid about $80 a ticket. to see Jeff Dunham. We were in row G, which what's that? 6 rows back, 7 rows back. So I mean, it wasn't bad at all. When we went to go see Nate Bargatze in Columbia, South Carolina, now that was a totally different story. That one because he's at the pinnacle of his career.
Yes.
We were about 7 rows back there too, because he does this thing in the round, So it's like
Yes.
there was a lot of close seats, but we got 4 seats together, and I think Barbara and I together both tickets were about $480.
Ouch.
I know, but it's like we're retired, and
Right.
we want to go do things. So I mean,
Yeah.
this is relatively cheap compared to going on a cruise or going to a all you can eat resort or something. I mean, we have
Yeah.
a good time doing this. So
Yeah, so we haven't done that either. And so I said, this time when it comes up, the friend got home, he said, hey, they're coming in. I told him if they show up again, I'm ready to pay for the tickets. And I think it was by the time you added in the fees and parking there, yes, even parking at the university, they charge you for parking. So he got a parking deal. All 4 of us can go, blah, blah, blah. And it was like by the time all the fees and the parking, blah, 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 ended up being, I think it cost us, like you're saying, it was like $70 a pop or
yeah, it wasn't bad.
80 something. It was like 160 something.
His career is kind of sunsetting, so you can get a better deal now. So,
Yeah.
but he's still funny. He's fantastic. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. But anyway, I think that just seems crazy that they're monitoring people's transactions. I mean, what in the world is the point in that? What are they looking to why are they policing that? And I've not read a good answer about that. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Congressman and House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan subpoenaed Google to answer some questions
My
about
internet
censorship under the
might be
reign
bad.
of
Yours?
President
I don't know
Autopen.
which.
Google did admit
you have a stable
that the
internet
previous
connection.
administration pressured them to remove
Gotta get
content
having faster
that did not
internet.
violate YouTube's policies and wrongly banned people for their political opinions, and if they criticized the COVID-19 policies. And I just lost Richard. Oh boy! But all this was at the urging of the White House. So I mean, when you have all these kind of policies, and if you're looking to restrict the free speech of people, it's going to come back and bite you. And apparently, it has. YouTube has issued an apology, and they're going to reinstate a lot of these accounts that were deleted. Richard and I also had. I think 3 episodes of our podcast since we started got deleted because we played clips from people that were not necessarily critical or overtly critical of the jab or of the COVID-19 policies, the 6 feet, whatever it was, all the stupid things that they implemented back during at the peak of COVID. But I mean, we just played clips of people going, this is kind of stupid and it's made up, and the numbers don't seem to add up when it comes to these deaths, because when the CDC released numbers, it was these were people that had 4 different comorbidities that put COVID kind of over. COVID made them go over the edge as far as and it caused their death. That's not truly a COVID death. That's kind of like you died of the flu. The same kind of thing would happen every year on the flu. So if you said that on YouTube, especially, I think we just had an episode get deleted. Gosh, probably about 3 months ago. So I mean, they were still doing it after Biden left office, and I think that they've. It sounds like they're changing their ways here. Hopefully we'll get Richard back here in a second. He just he froze up on me and he is gone at the moment. But anyway, here's an interview from 2023, I think it was, when the former CEO at YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, I think it's the way you pronounce it, on how these policies that they had at YouTube were developed.
When it comes to vaccines, vaccine hesitancy, videos that cause a public health risk, where do you want to see YouTube do better?
Well, first of all, we've taken responsibility very seriously. It's been one of my top priorities, and with regard to COVID and with regard to vaccines, that has been a top priority for us. And we have a number of different ways that we address that. So first of all, we want to make sure that if there's information that violates our policies, we came up with 10 different policies around COVID. Then if that's a violation of policies, then that's something that we'll remove. We removed over 1 million videos associated with COVID.
Have you talked to the Biden administration at all about vaccine hesitancy or vaccine misinformation?
Well, we did an event actually with the Biden administration, including President Biden himself, with a number of creators, Fauci as well.
I wonder if there's anything that you see in, the way that anti-vaxxers behave on the platform, if there are any data or insights there that could be helpful to people understanding where they're coming from.
I mean, we try to understand what are the different ways that we can break through. So we talked about in this campaign that we did about getting back to the things that you love. So what we really tried to do was get not just from the experts, but also people that were not experts, but who were explaining, like, why did they take the vaccine? Why was that relevant for them? And what was their thought process?
So apparently, if you're not an expert, you could give your opinion on why you wanted to take the vaccine, but you couldn't give your opinion if you didn't want to take the vaccine, and even if you had good reasons for that. I mean, and in hindsight, there were a lot of good reasons for that. It just always felt, and Richard and I are completely on the same page on this, it never felt right to me that they were pushing this mRNA thing. And like I said, with Dr. Robert Malone, when he went out there and got interviewed with Joe Rogan and on the Dark Horse podcast, and they deleted that almost immediately because he was one of the founders, one of the developers of the mRNA delivery system for the vaccine. Because of all that, it really threw up the red flags, because you understand that they wanted to squelch certain opinions. And when she talked about she had meetings with Fauci and Biden together, it's like they determined, even shooting from the hip, obviously, because they didn't know what they were talking about, what was misinformation and what wasn't, what needed to be deleted. She said they deleted over 1 million videos of people talking about that they were hesitant on taking this vaccine, which I've known people that have that were all in to begin with, and then after a little while, even though it made them sick maybe at first, and it went away, and really it didn't affect hardly it didn't affect a lot of people with all that stuff. It was only a handful of people that it caused their deaths and caused all these blood clots. But I mean, you just don't know. You're rolling the dice for a chest cold unless you've got all these different comorbidities. I mean, you're rolling the dice either way. And that's where it comes down to. And because they didn't want to promote or allow other people to promote maybe thinking about the vaccine before you took it, then you were squelched. You were taken out. Sounds very fascist to me. I know fascism is a word that gets thrown around a lot. So I know you missed the interview with that lady, but I think that you sent that to me anyway. The lady from YouTube, was talking about, she deleted a lot of the 1 million videos of people talking bad about the vaccine or talking about the numbers of COVID. The deaths were very skewed here in America as compared to other countries. So,
you died in an auto wreck. Oh, wait, you might have it test like it. You could be positive, so you died from COVID.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. Well, our friend Charlie down in Florida, he said that he knew somebody that was on his roof. I don't know whether he's cleaning his gutters or whatever, but he got struck by lightning, fell off his roof, and broke his neck. They tested him for COVID and counted it as a COVID death. Again, there was financial incentive to have that written on your death certificate. And it's like, what is that? How can anybody look at that and go, well, that looks right? How?
No. Absolutely no.
if you were the pro-vax crowd, you were fine. But if you were like people like us, like I said, we were part of that. We got deleted. Now, whether they'll bring back some of those the couple of our episodes that we got deleted for, I mean, that's fine. But one of them was Dr. Robert Malone again. Like I mentioned
the
him.
man who invented it pretty much knows what's going on. This is the guy who designed and made it and went, this is not what it's for. Now they're trying to push it, to put it on vegetables, to put it on, to put it in animals, farm animals, to give to your cat if it's got a sneezy cold or whatever. It's like they weren't happy killing us with direct injection, so now they're going to kind of go around the horn and get you another way.
And Bill Gates, the lion guy, he was instead of Bill Nye, the science guy, he's out there kind of talking about putting these kind of things in feed for animals and stuff, and the vaccines. It's like it just sounds terrible. I just don't see how anybody can be on board with that.
Yeah. Ew.
But on a side note from the interview there, a little over a year ago, that Susan tragically passed away from lung cancer, and that's very sad, and I hate that for her. But I mean, she was part of this process that squelched people's freedom of speech, and I don't have a lot of sympathy for people that are involved in that. Now, I hate that she died. I hate that she had lung cancer. Cancer's no laughing matter, but. She was part of a cog in that wheel, and I just think that we should try to avoid that at all costs. Those kind of things. So, so there is that.
Can we get the feds in on January 6th?
Let me see.
We
Yeah,
got
we
about
could
2 minutes or 3.
Yeah, we could do that. Conspiracy theories have been a big part of our conversation the last few years, but they've almost always been right, though, right? I mean. One was about the feds in the crowd on January 6th. In some cases, they were egging people on. I can't remember the guy's name that they have on audio saying we should charge the Capitol. And it's like he ended up being a Fed, never got arrested, the whole thing. America's Voice reporter Grant Stinchfield broke this story the other day, and here's what he had to say.
We have blockbuster news to tell you about. News that we first broke on this program last night with our man John Solomon. Turns out 250 plainclothes FBI agents were on the ground on January 6th. 250 of them. They were never straight with us. The prior administration, James Comey is the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, Attorney General Garland, they would never give us a straight answer about this. And in many respects, their omission about telling us the truth is the problem. And so now we're learning that in an after-action report, these FBI agents flooded FBI headquarters with anonymous complaints. Those complaints were captured in this after-action report. They read like this, one of them. We were once an apolitical organization, but I no longer see us as such, looking from the ground up. We have been used as pawns in a political war, and FBI leadership fell into the trap and has allowed it to happen. We are supposed to call balls and strikes, regardless of political pressure. Now we can't even be trusted on the field. That's one comment. I will tell you, in many respects, it's refreshing to see that inside the FBI, there were those that were pushing back. There were those that were angry about the politicization of the FBI. Here is another comment for you. Again, also damning. It reads, what is even more unacceptable was the hypocrisy displayed by the FBI and its leadership in their attempt to go after those involved in the Capitol riots, while we as agents watched cities burn across America during 2020. Remember, that, of course, was the summer of love. So again, 250 agents, many of them feeling like they were used as political pawns, and leadership from the Attorney General to the FBI refused to acknowledge that there were so many FBI agents on the ground here. Throwback, Thomas Massie questioning Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were, or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again, that you don't know that there were any?
I have no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said last time.
You've had 2 years to find out.
Yeah, he had 2 years to find out, and he knew all along. There's no.
They were saying, well, there was only a couple hundred. What was that last part? It was just a couple hundred. Well, no, a little louder on that last little aside. Yeah, couple hundred-ish. Okay, 250.
Yeah, 250. But I saw something yesterday that the number went up 278. So I mean,
yeah, that's what I've been seeing is the 270s. It's like with 250 maybe was a nice low number. Well, there was maybe more. So like 2/3 of the people that were out there were all feds. What?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And you know, if we have audio from that guy, and I don't have it with us today, but I mean, we have audio from that guy encouraging people to go into the Capitol, and
Ray Epps.
Ray Epps, there you go. But I mean, a lot of times I have seen videos where the doors were opened by the people in the Capitol, allowing people to just walk in. I mean, there might have been some places where it was charged, but for the most part, I saw people walking in being guided through by the guards.
There's film of a guy stopping one of these agents from busting out a window, and stop that. This is our Capitol. We're not here to destroy anything. And he just smacked him and shoved him to the ground and threatened him. And it's like, what? Yeah, we need to make this look bad. So get out of my way type thing.
And speaking of making it look bad, they perpetuated this lie for a long time too, and they did it during the January 6th hearings, that all these people died, all these guards had died or whatever, that on January 6th. The only person that died was Ashley Babbitt, and she was one of the protesters that a trigger-hungry guard shot her and killed her right then. I mean, and she was a veteran. She was there was
no need for that. It was absolutely, and to say that all these nobody died maybe the day after somebody had a heart attack.
And
I wonder why that was, because somebody, let's just say, knew too much. Would that be?
That would sound conspiratorial to me, but I mean, conspiracy theories are like 4,668 to 1 now. Yeah. So I mean, we're doing pretty good.
It's a conspiracy to say that you're a conspiracy theorist who is right.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Is it still a conspiracy? I saw that the other day. I went, what?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Well, we went over because my internet went. I have no idea what happened.
It's okay. We are up against another break, so let's do that. When we come back, we're going to talk about the possibility of the government shutdown. Oh, hang on. I'm clutching my pearls as we speak of that. We've heard this story so many times, it never really happens. So, but we'll talk about it when we come back, so hang in there.
I love the Stay Off My Lawn podcast. In fact, everyone loves it. You know why? Because they're well-informed and make me laugh. It's a winning combination, and I know all about winning combinations.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Oh, you know what? I forgot about that other clip. I got to put this in here so I don't forget. But as of midnight tonight, if there's not an agreement on the budget, we'll have a government shutdown again. This story is really getting old for most of us, right? I mean, because it doesn't really happen. I mean,
well, they're saying, well, this isn't going to happen and this isn't going to happen. And then by the 15th, it might be a little different. But there's also things I've heard. I love conspiracy theories. Whereas all these people are going to be furloughed on the 1st, and Trump's just going to go, they're already furloughed. They will not be coming back. He's going to lop off a big chunk of stuff, and the Dems are going. And I think it's funny that I've actually heard Schumer go, how does he keep out politicking me? He's not a politician. No, he's just smarter than you are, you moron.
I was going to say his IQ's a lot larger than yours, dummy.
You can put yours in a thimble and his takes a bucket. So, there
But
is that difference.
it never slows him down, though. I mean, because Schumer will go out there and run his mouth, even though he's got no gas in the tank, but he goes out there and does it anyway.
Yeah, the dollar store. Oh, bummer. Has the same problem.
Yes. Oh man, he said something the other day that they kind of like jumped on him. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, he's not made himself any friends since he left.
We're talking about Hakeem, if you didn't know.
Yeah, him too. The Senator Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma kind of explains where we're at on this whole government shutdown.
So we go into a shutdown midnight, September 30th. What does that mean for the American people? October 1st, the military gets paid. October 2nd, federal payroll goes out. So all federal employees will get their paycheck. Social Security paychecks will continue. Medicare, Medicaid will still be honored. But what happens if it goes farther than that? Well, come the 15th and 16th of October, those checks won't go out anymore. For what? Well, we're waiting on the Democrats to, once again, shoot down a clean CR, which a clean CR means is a continuing resolution, keep funding the way that it's continued to go. Yet the Schumers of the world, which there's only one, Chucky, he's not wanting to allow the Democrats to vote on it. Why? Because he's scared. They're scared of their own base. He's truly 100% scared of his own base. He's afraid that AOC is going to run against him. So he's so worried about his seat that he is willing to shut down the federal government. Even though those Democrats that want to vote for it, he's threatening them and saying you can't vote for it. He's literally holding them hostage too. This is the exact same CR that they voted for 6 months ago and the same type of CR they voted for 13 times underneath Joe Biden. It's for political purposes only. How can this happen when the Republicans are in control of literally all three areas, right? I mean, you got the House, you got the Senate, and you got the White House. Yes, in the House, it did pass. If it got to the president's desk, yes, he would sign it. But remember, the Senate is a chamber for the minority to have a vote. And so while we only have 53 Republicans, it takes 60 to pass a funding bill. You may have to have 8 or 9 Democrats to do it. So we can't do it all alone. It has to be a bipartisan vote in the Senate chamber. So stay tuned. Hopefully this won't continue to move the way it is, but I don't see a way out at this point. You can't argue with crazy, and that's where the Democrats are acting right now. Absolutely crazy.
I think the big sticking point here is, and I'm surprised he didn't mention this, but it's Trump wants to ban from this new continuing resolution federal funding for medical procedures, hormone blockers, chopping people's bits off. You know how all that works. He doesn't think that taxpayers should be paying for that kind of thing. Look, if you want to chop your stuff off, you want to insert something in you, whatever you want to do, or take hormone blockers, pay for it yourself. I don't think taxpayers should do it. I 100% agree with that.
Not to mention all the illegal aliens that they siphoned a potload of Social Security off of, Medicare, Medicaid. It's like, stop that. It's like, no, our taxes they're not citizens. They're not here legally. They haven't taken the time to be legal. And that's why they're just hanging out. And when you cut off those funds, they're not going to be very happy. Just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really sad. But they've got all of Social Security now there's no more paper checks. Everybody should have sent their deal in to have direct deposit, whatever, and that's basically hit the button and it should run automatically. So,
no, you're right. And so that actually saves them money there. But I forgot what I was going to say about that. You had just mentioned something. The way all this is just working is that, like you said, they're pandering to the illegal aliens. And I think this is one of the big rifts that Trump and Greasy Gavin have, because Trump has already told him directly that if you continue to offer Medicaid to these illegal immigrants, we're going to cut the federal funding, which is, I think, ends up being like 10 to 20% of their entire Medicaid funding for the state of California, which is significant because it's such a large state. And of course, that's making Gavin mad because he wants people that are not even citizens to vote in elections, so he can continue to.
Well, and they have been. They're finding this out. This is why some state attorneys are not wanting to send records. Oh, you don't need to know. Nothing to see here. We're not sending you anything. Mm-hmm. No, you don't get that choice. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, especially when it comes to federal elections. I mean, that's been banned for a long, long time. But anyway, Wesley Austin, one of our favorite people on Instagram, gives us the Dems' plans for after this shutdown happens, and you're going to love this.
Democrats are threatening to shut down the government, but don't worry, they're already booking their spa treatments. A government shutdown will occur if Congress doesn't pass an agreement to fund the government by the end of September 30th. Democrats' demands include a demand that U.S. taxpayers pay for health care for illegal immigrants. But despite the possible shutdown, Senate Democrats are planning a 2-day retreat at a 5-star resort in California wine country on October 13th and 14th. The resort is a vineyard estate-inspired retreat which extends a Tuscan European vibe where they can soak in oversized sunken tubs with their own private fireplaces. And to shake things up, they're going to have a wine tour. For Democrats, the one thing more important than draining the swamp is draining a bottle of Merlot.
I love the way he puts that stuff. But it's like, yeah, you can see Chuck Schumer out there getting a mani-pedi. I mean, that's the manly man that he is. You know, he knows how to grill burgers, too. Have you seen that video of him back in the 4th of July? He had the raw burger on the grill, and he put a piece of cheese on the raw side of the burger. I'm like going, tell me you don't know how to grill anything without telling me you don't know how to grill anything.
Yeah. Can I not have that one with the cheese on it? Please, I don't want that. That's for you, Chucky.
Hold the salmonella, please.
Yeah. Even it's Christmas.
It's just incredible. Yeah. But you know, the more they try to relate to the common person, the more they shoot themselves in the foot.
They don't know how. They haven't got a clue, especially somebody who's been in Congress for, what is he, 40 years in Congress or easily. 38 or whatever the hell it is. It's ridiculous. So,
They have no idea what the regular person does. They don't know what it is to actually work a job where you get sweaty and dirty and the whole thing like you and I both do. I just don't understand how these people get in office anyway. I mean, New York is a big state. He had to swindle a lot of people in that state to keep him in there.
That's how that state runs. They don't know how to do it any other way.
They don't. You're right. It's just crazy. Switching gears here real quick. The Super Bowl this year, the halftime show, maybe the worst one
Baby
yet.
Bunny, what is it?
It's Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny. Oh, it's a bad Baby Bunny.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
That's still too much.
There's a lot to unwrap here, and if you're not familiar with this story, listen carefully. Yeah, he's a rapper. This Bad Bunny dude is a rapper, but there's a lot more to it. And so I came across this from the great Jason Whitlock. He explained all this. He used to be a sports reporter, and now he's a little bit more of a political pundit, but he still stays plugged in with sports. But here's Jason explaining what's going to happen if things don't change.
The National Football League is going to put on a halftime drag show. I can't do it. I love football, but I fear God more than I love football. They're grooming our babies. We're going to pay a price for this. Hey, we're going to bring Bad Bunny to the halftime, the biggest platform in all of American popular culture, maybe the biggest platform in all of global culture, and we're going to have a drag show with somebody named Bad Bunny. Someone's got to be fired. This cannot be tolerated. We can't just look the other way. Sports has been such a big part of my life, but they're putting me in an impossible position. There's no way I can support this Super Bowl. I can't do it.
I don't blame him. If they go through with this.
There was some schmuck on last year too. I don't remember what it was, but anyhow, we not only did we not watch it with our friends, we go over to their house and the Super Bowl party, and there's just 4 of us. We don't give a crap. So we're fixing whatever, and we changed the channel to something else. So they didn't get any ratings from it. It wasn't that it was on. We put it on something else. But the NFL keeps doing this crap. I love my football. I enjoy college football more than I do pros, but it's on and it's just kind of I like watching my Packers but yeah, I'm about done.
Yeah, I mean, college football, it's hard because there's so many teams, and we only do streaming now, so it's like trying to find those games that you want to watch. It's very difficult. So, I mean, pro football is easier. I've been watching a little bit of that lately, but I did notice. I think it's the New York Jets stadium where it still says something about "love is love" or something on the
end zone.
the end zones. I'm like going, why is that still a thing? I thought a lot of them had banned it. I think the Kansas City Chiefs banned that. I think there was a handful of other teams, but it's still out there. I think it was the Jets. I don't remember.
Well, you've got it's the Jets and the Giants play in the same stadium.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So anyway, the NFL's shooting themselves in the foot, and can't believe
it's going over like a giant lead rock.
Yep. And speaking of New York, Eric Adams, the incumbent in New York, see, we're good at this. He's the incumbent New York City mayor in the mayoral race. There's a word I was trying to come up with. He dropped out over the weekend. It looks even more likely that Mamdani will be the new mayor. But even Bill Maher, who is certainly not a conservative voice, but he's sounding more like it just because his whole party has moved so further to the left than he ever was. But he had guests on the show the other day. Let's see, Colorado Congressman Jason Crow, who seems to be on the side of Mamdani, and reporter James Kirchick sees this as a problematic thing. And I wasn't going to play this, but I think we should because it's really, really good.
This is Mamdani. If you've been not following the news, he won the Democratic primary in New York, so he is certainly likely to be the next mayor. We don't know. I mean, there's a lot of opposition because we've never had someone this radical. Some of the things he says, he quotes Marxist, each according to their need. I mean, that's straight up communism. Whether you call it the abolition of private property, you call it housing guarantees, it's preferable to what is going on right now. I mean, just the phrase abolition of private property, not something we usually hear in America. Prisons were obsolete. What purpose do they serve? I could think of a couple. The NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. I think most people think cops are protecting their public safety, even though there's issues and problems with the police department. Do you like capitalism? No. We've never had a guy quite like this.
I thought you were going to say that beards and politics are back, but,
But let me ask the question. Yeah. You're going to have to answer everything like this. They're going to ask every single Democratic politician. It's not just Mamdani.
That's never new. I mean, there's always a villain. There's always people. They always try to create a villain. Is my point. They always try to create some boogeyman or boogie. No. If it wasn't this one, it was going to be somebody else.
I'm not creating anything.
I'm not defending the policies. There are plenty of things that I disagree with there, and that I don't come down on. But the point being, we see this every cycle. I've now been doing this long enough to know that every single cycle there's some contrived villain or boogeyman, and if it wasn't this one,
he's not contrived. He's going to be the mayor of New York.
Everything that the crazy far right alleged about Barack Obama wasn't born in America. Right. Islamist, socialist, right. Anti-Semite, hates America. It's all true about this guy. Right. Okay, it is all true about this guy. You didn't even mention. You didn't even mention the thing that I find the most appalling, which is that he defends the expression globalize the Intifada.
Yes, correct.
Which explicitly means, and I don't want to hear anyone deny this, it means kill Jews wherever and whenever you can find them. That's what that expression means. And the fact that this man is on the verge of becoming the mayor of the second largest Jewish city in the world is very frightening. And I'm actually really disappointed that more Democrats have either, are not coming out and condemning him and saying we're not going to endorse this guy because he is beyond the pale.
That is concerning. I didn't think about that being the second largest population of Jewish people in the world.
And they always seem to vote Democrat, and I've never figured it out. They're very conservative, but it's like, what the heck? But we'll see what happens this time around. But there's always a boogeyman. Really? This is a bona fide, there's a reason they call him Comey Mamdani. So, he is what it is.
I disagreed with Eric Adams on a lot of things, but man, I mean, if he was the choice between him and Mamdani, I mean, it would be easily Eric Adams. He's actually got some common sense to him. I don't understand. So the last poll I saw, I think it was Mamdani had 45% support, and I think Eric Adams was at the bottom of the list. I think he had 9. That's why he dropped out. And I think Curtis Sliwa, the Republican in the race, I think he's only got like 13. And I think Andrew Cuomo only has
the Republicans didn't run a real good candidate. I mean, I don't dislike the guy, but he's not mayor material.
No, wasn't he like the leader of the Guardian Angels or something?
He's the one who founded it.
So, I mean, and he's got a good message. He's just not a politician. He's just not. By the way, on a fun fact, Kamala Harris just endorsed Mamdani.
Oh, yeah. Well, all of her stuff that people kept saying was word salad, straight out of the communist doctrine. Undo what has been, blah, blah. That's all communist speak.
Absolutely. It's straight out of, what's his name's book? Of course, it's going to escape me. I had it in my head a second ago. But I mean,
was that the Mein Kampf? No.
No, I'm thinking of
Karl Marx.
Gosh, the one that Hillary Clinton actually quoted a few things, but I can't think of the name of it. I'll think of it as soon as we finish up here.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
The way it works. But anyway, I think that New York is in for some hard times, and if you live in New York, God bless you. I don't know how things are going to go. So I don't know. We need a palate cleanser, though.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, please. After that, I mean, are the New Yorkers this stupid that they believe all this stuff is going to be free? They've already tried a free grocery store in Kansas City. That didn't work.
No. I think that our guest last week, Reagan, she made a good point, is that he's the only one that is actually speaking of things to make things better. Even though it's not going to work, he's talking about solutions. And even though they're completely idiotic, people want to have some kind of hope that things are going to get better. And he's spewing out these lies, giving people that false hope. And I think she's absolutely right. I think that's why people are clinging on to his message. Nobody else has that message.
And it's just really sad. I had so thoroughly enjoyed our interview with her last week. It was very common sense. She's like you and I. She's worked hard all her life and still working hard just to do this. Reagan Box she's the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to have her on again when we get closer to the primary. And I'm not even sure when the date is for that, but we'll have that probably within a few months. So we'll have her back on. But the palate cleanser this week is Ben Franklin. This is something about something you didn't realize you knew about Ben Franklin. We just know he's a smart guy and invented a bunch of stuff. But Paul Harvey explains there's a little bit more to his background.
And now, the rest of the story. Men like Benjamin Franklin do not visit this earth in bunches. One such man per era, and the world counts itself lucky. He is remembered as a patriot, a publisher, a philosopher, and a diplomat. His most remarkable contributions, especially considering the generation in which he lived, were of a scientific nature. Mid-18th century, when those few who knew of electricity thought it to be black magical, Ben Franklin boldly proposed to enslave it. He identified lightning as a form of electricity by flying a baited kite in a storm, and he produced his own electricity with an electrostatic generator of his own invention. Through his scientific experiments, he discovered electrical polarity and the cooling effect of evaporation, and this, remember, was in the mid-1700s. Combining scientific principles with common sense, he invented the lightning rod and the Pennsylvania fireplace, and he invented bifocal glasses, and in his spare time, he charted the Gulf Stream. The world scientific community stood in awe of Ben Franklin. In 1756, he was elected to England's Royal Society. In 1772, he was elected to the French Academy of Sciences. And it might well be said that the world scientific community still stands in awe of this man. Ben Franklin was with us for 84 years. And yet it's doubtful that even at that ripe old age he had reached his potential, because so diverse, so apparently boundless was his genius. that one can scarcely imagine what he might have accomplished with another decade or two. You know, it's often been asked by America's scholars, where are the Ben Franklins of recent generations? A suggestion is that we have emphasized the concerns of the so-called common man to the point of idealizing commonness. The best of the lousiest and the lousiest of the best. And with a premium on mediocrity, one can only expect the mediocre, and thus some say are the would-be Ben Franklins among us encouraged to think small. But that might not be all. For in the 200 years since Franklin's death, the world has made astonishing strides in almost every area, except perhaps in reliably measuring a child's potential. Who in the entire 18th century had more potential than Benjamin Franklin? Nobody. And yet, nobody would have recognized it when he was a little boy. You see, little Ben, this youngster who would grow up to chart the Gulf Stream and to discover electrical polarity and the cooling effects of evaporation, this scientific genius who invented the lightning rod and the Pennsylvania fireplace and bifocal glasses, that same child who, in addition to future careers in journalism and diplomacy, was destined to distinguish himself as an inventor and as a scientist, he, young Ben, the embodiment of all this human potential, at the age of 10, was forced to quit school and go to work because he failed in arithmetic. Ben Franklin, remember, a penny saved is a penny earned? When he was little Ben, he flunked math. And he flunked it twice. And now you know the rest of the story.
God, I love that story. I just love that.
Don't sell yourself short just because you're not good at one thing doesn't mean you won't be really good at something else. There's been many people that were successes later in life on stuff. Kentucky Fried Chicken, for instance, Colonel Sanders.
He was almost 60 when he started, right?
He was in his mid 60s to late 60s when the franchise all went big, and then he sold it, and they said, "But we want to keep you on." So he was the spokesman for his own stuff for years.
Perfect spokesperson too. Yeah,
Yep.
He was perfect. Yes, I mean, just because, well, I mean, I didn't necessarily aim high myself. I graduated 270 out of 400 when I graduated high school. But I mean, it is what it is. I could come up with excuses, but I mean, I've never been necessarily super smart, but I've taught myself over the years to read. Charlie Kirk. Perfect example. Never went to college. People used to like to put him down for never going to college. But I mean, he was probably one of the smartest people in the whole country because he read 100 books a year and constantly was learning. And it's like, there's a lot of people that go, well, I've got this degree. I don't need to learn anything from somebody that doesn't have a degree.
I've already gone through school. I got my paper. I don't care anymore. I used to always like to learn. I read to learn things, and my daughters gave me a bad time. At one point in time, I was getting 4, they called them nerd books a month about building computers, what was coming out in computer science, and it was just fascinating to me, and I'd read each one of them virtually cover to cover every single month. And so, you can either decide to just sit back and rest on your laurels, or you can do something. In our retirement, we were talking earlier, I was not very good at editing, so I had no idea how it worked. I have spent hours figuring it out, and I wasn't real good at the video stuff, and I spent more hours learning that. And
You're
it's
much better at videos than I am.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just figure out something. Say, I want to learn something. Doesn't matter what it is. Learn something.
Learn by doing. And with YouTube out there, you don't even have to read. You can just watch somebody do what you want to learn how to do. And that's where I learned how to edit with radio imaging. I mean, because like I was like you, I didn't know how to edit in Adobe Audition. That was very daunting. And you just learn how to do stuff. But again, we're from that generation where we learned how to do stuff on our own anyway. Reading the World Book Encyclopedia instead of going on the internet because it didn't exist. So,
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Go
we
look
hope-
that up on the worldwide internet. Yeah, it's how
what?
do you do that?
Well, we hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Smart Speaker, Rumble, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And if all that's just difficult, just go to our good old website of stayoffmylawn.us for all our past and present episodes.
Sure, that's it. And we'll see you next week, folks.
Toodles, and thanks so much for listening. Tell a friend if you enjoyed it.